Have you ever looked at a really successful company and just wondered, how do they do it? What separates the organizations that thrive from the ones that just kind of stumble along? Well, I'll tell you, it's not magic, it's management. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the fundamental framework that makes it all click. So let's ask that question directly. What is the secret engine? How do the greats consistently nail their targets, keep innovating, and get their teams fired up to do amazing work? It's a question every single leader, and anyone who wants to be one, really has to answer.
And you know what? The answer is actually pretty simple and elegant. It all comes down to 4 core activities, 4 essential functions that, when you do them right, create this incredibly powerful cycle of success. This is really the bedrock of great management.
Okay, so let's break them down. We're going to deconstruct the core of management by taking a close look at each of these 4 functions, one by one.
It all kicks off right here with planning. Seriously, think of this as the roadmap. Before you do anything, you've got to define exactly what you're trying to achieve. Those are your objectives. And then you have to figure out the absolute best path to get there. It's all about looking ahead and being smart about where you put your resources.
Okay, next up, organizing. Now, if planning is the what and the why, then organizing is the who and the how. This is where you actually build the framework. You take all the pieces of the puzzle, your people, the tasks, the tools, and you arrange them into a structure that makes sense, a structure that allows you to execute the plan efficiently.
Then we get to leading. And this is the human element. It's the spark. You can have the most brilliant plan in the world and a perfectly organized structure, but they're useless without a motivated team. Leading is all about inspiring people, guiding them, and communicating that big picture vision that gets everyone pulling in the same direction. It's literally the fuel for the engine.
And finally, we've got controlling. Now hold on, this word can sound a little restrictive, right? But it's not about that at all. Think of it more like the steering wheel of a car. It's that critical process of checking in on your progress, comparing your actual results to what you planned, and then making those little adjustments to make sure you stay on course. It's your feedback loop.
So we have our 4 functions: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. But here's the thing. Their real power doesn't come from treating them like some simple checklist. No, let's see how they connect to form something much more powerful: a continuous system. And this gets us to the big aha moment: interdependence. None of these functions just exist on their own in a bubble. They are all deeply, deeply connected. Each one flows into the next, creating this living, breathing system that really drives success. And this visual just illustrates it perfectly. You plan. Then you organize your resources to make that plan happen. You lead your team to get it done, and then you control by measuring how it all went. But, and this is the most important part, the information you get from controlling doesn't just stop there. It feeds directly back into a new, smarter, more informed round of planning. It's a nonstop loop of getting better and better.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, doesn't it? But let's get real. Let's look at how one of the most efficient, successful companies on the planet, Toyota, puts this exact cycle into action every single day. Just look at this breakdown. For planning, it's crystal clear. They set super precise production targets. For organizing, they structure their teams into these highly efficient functional units. But their approach to leading, this is where it gets really interesting. They have the Kaizen philosophy, which means continuous improvement. Any worker on the assembly line feels empowered to pull a cord and stop the entire line if they spot a single flaw or have an idea to make things better. That is leadership at every level, not just from the top down. And for controlling, they use those insights and regular performance reviews to constantly refine the process, which, you guessed it, feeds right back into their next planning session. The cycle is whole. So now that we've seen how it all works, from the basic theory all the way to the factory floor at Toyota, let's boil this all down into a simple roadmap you can actually use. All right, so here's the bottom line. 3 things to really take away from this. First, these 4 functions, they're your practical toolkit for tackling pretty much any goal. Second, please remember, they're not a simple checklist. They're an interconnected, continuous cycle. The real magic happens in that loop. And finally, this system isn't just for giant corporations. It drives success in everything from a Toyota factory right down to your own personal projects. And that just leaves us with one last thought to chew on. As you look at this framework, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, which one of those is your natural superpower? And
Maybe more importantly, which one could you focus on just a little bit more to become an even more effective leader or manager? Something to think about.